Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time we're talking episode 1 of season 6 of The Flash, Into the Void. Um, Honestly, this is just an okay episode in my book. Um, it's definitely okay, we've got to set up the season. And okay, setup episodes are always kind of on the moderate side, but they are just necessary sometimes. Let's kind of get right into it. We don't really have a villain this episode, but we do have somebody who kind of causes the problem, and this, of course, is Chester P. Runk, who in the comics is a character known as Chunk, and he does have these crazy gravity black hole powers. I remember reading some big story with him from the Wally West era years and years ago. I was never super impressed by the character, who in the comics is an enormously obese guy. Which I couldn't say I didn't seem particularly sensitive to me even at the time, but you know, comics are comics. Here they just portray him as a very gifted scientist who's maybe got a little bit of what we might call an excess of personality, but still, it would kind of nice to have another science person around for the team to deal with. And considering that he has those glowy eyes at the end, that it looks like they're sort of setting him up to be important to the plot to some degree down the road. And okay, fine. Um, Honestly, I gotta say that whatever the flaws of this episode, the bit where Cisco plays the old Flash Gordon theme while Barry goes to save Chester is, oh my god, that was brilliant. Like I've seen the old Flash Gordon movie from 1980, and it is an unabashedly just out there crazy movie. This movie is one reason why so many people get pumped about Brian Blessed. If you to just see him in that movie is just an experience. I mean, he is in full Brian Blessed mode, and it is a glorious thing to see. Um, there really just are no words for this movie. It is just so crazy and so over the top. And you've got a theme song by Queen, which just, oh, oh man. I mean, I haven't seen this movie in years, but I remember watching it years and years ago, and I'm like, this is the craziest thing ever, and yet I love it. So yeah. And seriously, if you go and actually look up this song on YouTube right now, it's like about 1 million people saying, "Who else is here from season 1, episode 1 of season 6 of The Flash?" Well, apparently 1 million people who don't bother to read the comments before making the exact same comment again. Yeah, I really can't stand when people like do that. It annoys the hell out of me. All right, but whatever. Um, Nothing especially besides that to say about Cisco, but it is nice to see that he and his girlfriend are kind of a thing. He's definitely sort of very much into like, okay, I'm just going to be regular guy Cisco from now on. The idea of what's going on with Caitlin, with her letting Killer Frost kind of have more time in the driver's seat to kind of create her own life. It's interesting, but we've seen in previous seasons that Killer Frost does have her own way of relating with people. Like when they went to the bad guy bar with Goofball Wells and Cisco, and apparently she was a real hit at the bar. So I think they're kind of perhaps exaggerating a little bit, but okay. If Killer Frost does have her own life, what does she do with it? Does she get it? Well, obviously she's not going to get a job or whatever, but that is an interesting question. How does she have something that is a life unique to her and not just her sort of piggybacking on Caitlyn's life? Well, okay, that's kind of interesting. It does feel sort of weird, but okay, I'll roll with it. It's an interesting idea, and I do really like the updated costume and the idea of her kind of being more out there as a proper superhero in Central City. Okay, I'm down with that. Um, some nice moments with Cecile. I do like that they have kind of gotten to the point, like especially last season, where they've managed to really work it so that she's a functioning member of the cast. A supporting character, sure, but she still has her own role in the show, and she's able to uniquely do things like on her own. Joe's settling into his role as the new chief, which is great, and them sort of kind of tying up the whole bit with Nora having been erased from the timeline, Iris kind of freaking out about her jacket possibly ending up in the dump. You know, Barry kind of having his moment where he's just like, he just doesn't want to deal with the fact that Nora's gone. It all really culminates in that nice moment with them having this thing like, okay, well, we're going to basically throw out the old reverse Flash thing and put something in there as a tribute to Nora, which I thought was good. You know, there definitely needed to be some stronger closure on that aspect of things, especially given that they're really just picking up just moments after the end of the previous season. The stuff with the Monitor, I mean, yeah, of course Crisis has to be set up, and I have no real objections to how it's done. It's certainly setting things up to be pretty interesting next episode. But yeah, oh yeah, and the bit with Godspeed, that was interesting, like where the dude just opens his mouth and just starts blaring this like old 90s internet connection kind of noise, as it was pointed out. That was kind of freaky. You're just sitting here thinking like, well, what in the world is going on? Also, Ramsey Rosa as Bloodwork. That's not a character that I'm familiar with, but I'm sure a lot of people recognize the actor as the guy that played Mulhinder on Heroes years ago. That's cool. That guy's a really good actor. Very, very good and very intense performance. I really liked what he did in this episode. And you can definitely kind of see that his point of view, even if it does seem extremely uncharitable towards his mother. But anyway, I think Bloodwork as a character does need some more work, but again, it's only really been one episode, so either way, they have set him up with, I think, is a solid start, and we'll see where things go from there. Yeah, I think that covers everything I had to say with this episode, guys. So, until next time, take care and have a good one.